For the ninth time in 6 months, Canada is mourning the loss of a police officer. 9 officers have been killed, 8 while on the job. On Monday, just hours after Edmonton laid 2 of their own to rest, an officer in Quebec lost her life. Joining me now to discuss the rise in the number of police fatalities in this country and is the CEO of Investigative Solutions Network, Sean Sparling. Sean is also the former Deputy Chief of Police for the Sault Ste. Marie Police Service. Sean, we appreciate this. Thank you so much and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
And let me begin, first of all, because as we know, police, you have more than 30 years experience in law enforcement and the police community described as a brethren, right? Really. And so my condolences to you and your former colleagues, of course, because this number just is very difficult for a lot of people to grapple with. What is your reaction to all this? What do you make of it?
Well, it's an absolute tragedy what's going on, Anthony. Certainly things are changing in Canadian society and in policing. This is unprecedented, the number of deaths in Canadian law enforcement. But we also have to look at just south of the border. They're going through the same thing. Last year, there was a significant rise in the number of police deaths, and it's only translating to what's happening up here in Canada.
And a lot of these cases, I mean, we know policing is a very dangerous job at the best of times, but a lot of times in these recent cases, unprovoked attacks, these are routine arrests in some cases, and yet these officers have lost their lives. What can be done going forward to address this?
It's all coming back to the mental health and addictions in our society today. Certainly things changed after the pandemic, but there needs to be an increased coordination of policing with social services. And there really needs to be a hard look at what's going on here and perhaps changing the tactics and training of the police officers themselves.
How do we do that, though? I mean, there's a constant debate over money, over the number of police officers. We've discussed, the mental health issues and the supports, not just for police officers, of course, but in society in general. This isn't a new problem. It seems to be now where it's really manifesting into something incredibly significant and incredibly tragic. But how do we address it? Because there's this constant debate politically of how to.
Well, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. The issue is that this is a very politically charged debate, and there's not a lot of real work being done on it by the government. At the end of the day, there needs to be fundamental change in policing in Canada, and it's not about defunding the police or anything like that. It's about coordinating with social services and changing the way we do things. But so far, there's a lack of political will on all parties, and there seems to be more interest in listening to the special interest groups than actually rolling up your sleeves and getting something done about it.
From your perspective, what has this done for recruitment in this country for police?
Recruitment right now in policing is at an all-time low. We're actively involved in the recruiting processes for several police services. It's at an absolute all-time low. All police services are having a hard time recruiting. There's vacancies everywhere. Just look at the RCMP. They can't fill the staffing needs they have. It's the same thing in the small municipal services right down to their Indigenous partners. So everybody's having the same issue. It's not the profession of choice, and it has a lot to do with what's going on right now, what you're seeing in policing and how police are being attacked both politically and right on the streets.
And you want, at the end, of course, you want high-quality individuals, and no disrespect at all to anyone involved, but it may be difficult if you are so short-staffed and you have to limit the number of people you take in some cases. But when it comes to recruitment, in terms of the training, how do we address that problem if there is, in some cases, if this is a deterrent for a lot of people?
Well, it really comes down to recruiting and supporting officers right from when they get started in the profession. You start off with good, strong peer support groups. You start having targeted recruiting through good, strong psychological testing and backgrounds that they're suitable for the profession, both suitable like for grit and resilience, and also their own personal traits, and really support them right from the get-go when they start into the profession.
We have to remember, I mean, these are 9 individuals, but they are people, they are family members, they are husbands, wives, brothers, sisters. I mean, I just want to name them because I think they deserve that. Travis Jordan, Brett Ryan in Edmonton, Constable Priscilla Shailin Yang, Devin Northrup, Constable Morgan Russell, Travis Gillespie, and Andrew Hong. A number of police services across the country, and I'm wondering, when you hear that, I mean, this has really affected everybody. I'm wondering, we talked about recruitment, but what about the morale within the police service and the police community as a country? Maybe a difficult question to answer because it is widespread.
Yeah, everybody's going to be deeply affected by this. You have to look at how these officers died as well. They died violently, guns and knives. This is not normal for Canadian policing. Usually, one officer a year, one every couple of years, and they typically are killed through motor vehicle collisions or whatnot. Some are through violence, but these are all violent acts. This is going to have a profound impact on the psyche of our officers in Canada. It's a real tragedy.